Alright, what's up everybody? Um, this may not be a hugely successful video here, but I've been kind of obsessed with drawing this character. It's the Wesley Dodd Sandman, and the reason for that is, I think it's an interesting costume design. There's like 5 really difficult elements on it. And if you've ever seen the Wesley Dodd Sandman, he's a character, he doesn't wear a costume, he wears a suit. That's tough element number 1. It's a specific suit. It's a double-breasted 1940s gangster suit. And those are not easy to draw. Just because of the way the buttons are. Like there's a double-breasted suit like that has these kind of unique buttons. It's not just a suit, it's a suit with a cape, so the cape's difficult too. It's not just that, he also always wears a hat, so you gotta have the specific hat, not just any fedora. It's gotta be kind of in period. This is not a Frank Sinatra fedora, it's a little bit more gangstery looking. He also wears a gas mask, right, so that's also difficult. And then the other thing is, when you're drawing the suit, the pants are hard. It's not like you can draw just regular figure drawing. At least in the way I understand it. So I think this won't work even just because I made the head too big. I want to try and do like an upshot. This might be too big. If we push those in, we might get more of an upshot look. Something like that. I'm not sure this is gonna work. My idea was there's a Steve Ditko Wally Wood comic. I think it's from Thunder Agents, where it's Dynamo meets the Amazing Andor, and it's the opening splash page is looking up through like a manhole cover at this character, and he's kind of on the edge of the manhole cover. So I don't think that's gonna work in this case. I might just drop the manhole cover affectation here, because it would require this really kind of a 4-point or 5-point perspective of the background elements, not just have the character shown as an upshot, which I think we can still do to a degree. This is also serving as my beginning to figuring out things like clothing folds, which are not easy. But you can see this kind of design in Rorschach. A lot of characters, especially a lot of Ditko characters, the Question and Rorschach were just basically characters in suits with a hat. The Face is a character in a tuxedo wearing a Halloween mask, So, not unheard of, right? That we would have something like that. Let me see if I can get this suit. I think my perspective is off, but I can still kind of warp it into place. I'm thinking maybe I made my collar too big. Maybe just a bit too high. Let's lower it down a little bit. So there's the edges of the cape. If we're looking at an upshot, we're seeing the underside of his hat. And this is all prelim drawing, so what you're seeing is very scratchy, scrawly, scribbly. There's this gas mask. And to get the suit, the lower lapels are really big, And the one on the right side for a double-breasted suit kind of swings all the way over because the way this suit closes is it closes all the way out to here. And I'm looking at the cut of it and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I put the leg in the wrong place. Alright. And that's where the buttons go, right? In a way, I think it's okay to do this character as not a skinny character. He shouldn't be overly bulky. We're not making him a big pro wrestler looking dude. But he's not skinny either. The other thing that's kind of tough for this character is he's not an action superhero. He's in like a detective noir kind of character. Maybe a little bit more like Dick Tracy or The Shadow or something. So it's less about action until it is about action, and more about sneaking around and things like that, uncovering clues. His main weapon is a gas gun that knocks people out. That's why he's called the Sandman. Let's see if I can make him. And I'm looking at him, there's no dynamism because I really want to have him kind of lean forward. Something like that, a little bit more. Maybe this cape comes out this way. Very tough to draw. Getting the right crease points of the pants is very tough. Also, I think, and I'm not 100% sure, this might be an incorrect memory, I think he has striped pants, or he could have striped pants. And because he has that kind of gangster look, I always put him in spats, so I'm not sure if he wears spats or not. Make him a little bit more Phantom of the Opera looking. There's always this obscuring smoke because he's got this gas gun kind of thing. Another character that's similar is I think it's called the Twilight Avenger. Might even be based on the same character. Twilight Avenger was like an indie comic. I'll have to look up who did it. Twilight Avenger, but that's another one. I remember getting it in black and white. and it having almost no like rendering stuff. It was just only done in clear lines, like line work, which it's not a great way to do things, actually, in my opinion. All right, if we obscure some of his feet with this environment, it might save us a little bit. Actually, I kind of like this. All right, this kind of works, but we've got to figure out how to put it together. So we're going to take this whole layer, drop it down, make another layer on top as our inking layer. Actually, let's go back to this layer for a second. Put my silky sketcher on. If we were to figure out where the light source is, like maybe the light source is behind him, and that's where we get the underside being dark. That would put a lot of kind of front light. Could even do it on another layer. Alright, this is we're still in the realm of preliminary drawings. And if the light is behind him, the shadow would be in front of him, right? We might get a softer pastel. Yeah. And then everything inside the cloak also kind of ends up in shadow. It's such a cool character. I mean, it's one of those weird designs that DC has, which I think is one of the best things about DC, the sort of interesting characters that they have, like Sandman and like let's say Creeper, Amazo, Eclipso. All very cool. Let's say that this is our vanishing point. And that will give us the angles of the bricks. And I think if we ever actually get this thing to work, what's going to make it work is going to be the judicious application of lots of shadow and environment. You know, maybe we show it's wet, if there's some puddles or something here. so that we have the nighttime effect. This is a character that I would greatly prefer to, say, Batman, which I think has been corrupted. Batman kind of started out as this kind of character, kind of a noir, you know, detective kind of character. I know he's just like a version of the Punisher that wears a bad costume. He's not nearly as interesting. Okay, something like that. All right, we're going to take this whole thing. Drop the opacity down. Put another layer over it. And I was going to use this fat grungy. It's a little too fat. So I'm going to go over here to Rusty Nib. And there's a couple of brushes I like. I like that number 4. There's a number 4 smooth or a number 4 rough. I'm going to use the number 4 rough. And let's just see what I can get out of it. The greatest extent possible, we want to preserve the idea that you should have this kind of otherworldly look to him. He's been drawn many different ways, like a lot of the sort of golden age artists who drew Sandman couldn't seem to settle on how they wanted him depicted. Sometimes he just looks like he has a robot face. In certain issues of JSA, I always wonder, like, who is this? A robot guy? Like, what is this? That's not what he is at all. And then sometimes they just give him like a really mundane looking gas mask, which isn't as interesting at all. All right, let's see. Remember, judicious application of liberal application of shadow. We want shadow everywhere. And if the light is behind him, we can actually put some shadow up on the front of his hat as well. I'm just going to give him a black tie. That's part of his cloak. And for the cloak, I like to give him sort of Darth Vader, Doctor Doom cloak clasp, which is just these 2 discs, and maybe there's even like a rope or a chain in between them. And there he is so far. All right, I'm taking a look at his lapels. This is where it gets really difficult. So you don't get the suit right. And the character just doesn't look right. And the same with the cloak. Well, the other thing is he has these gloves, but they're sort of short gloves. Something like that. I've got to figure out how to render more shadows over the front of him. And to show more of how the jacket kind of fits together so it's a little bit more believable. There is a plethora of sort of golden age comics from the period, like, you know, the 40s and the 50s that are sort of gangster focused. Maybe I can focus on those. All right, hold on. Okay, let's see. I'm wondering if I just kind of black out this area underneath the cloak here. We'll lose a lot of stuff, but it'll still look right because the unshadowed parts will be in the right area, I think. Or close to the right area. But just to make sure, I'm going to try and put them on their own layer. get into some of this environment stuff. I'm thinking what I might need to do is put it, like I said, put it on its own layer. I think that might be the smart thing to do. To the shadow. We're going to try and shadow up on the front. Should be shadow too. Okay, now this part only works if I leave the right areas out of the shadow. And it's kind of working. Usually when you get to this sort of level of kind of like blacking everything out, it's a bit problematic. I mean, it's, you know, how much are you faking it at that point if you're blacking everything out? But I think this is looking okay. I don't feel like I'm faking a lot of it. Even if we kind of blew it up to that level. Gonna get some highlights now. We could do that with white. That's looking okay. Alright, so let's do some more environment. Come on now. Instead of using this... This isn't seen as too lazy. Use some white. One thing it's missing is the black shadow, the drop shadow that's in front of him. And, you know, more of the environment in general that's in front of him. And you know, we're getting closer to kind of a cool image. Probably have to do something interesting with the bricks on the wall and the you know, maybe there's some texture on the ground. This is kind of an urban character, so there might be kind of a grungy street texture. And we could even make some of that grungy texture appear in the shadow, right? By using white. Let's bring back some of those lines. This is supposed to be the bricks in the alley. See what it looks like. Yeah, I think this will work as long as we don't go too detailed. Like leave it a little bit abstract. Would be good. I was looking at some reference images, which I think it was Little Caesar, which would have been I forgot the actor who played him. One of the reference images is he's shooting, and then there's a shadow of a guy getting shot in the reference image. I thought that was pretty cool. It was a movie promo still from this, 1930s gangster movie. And you can do some cool things with shadow. I think the trick is not to pretend that it's going to do all your work for you. Don't. Cede everything over to the shadow. It's not going to do all your work for you. Let's put some more contour lines in this gun. I think he even uses like gas grenades or something. If he doesn't, he should have some kind of gas grenade or that's actually looking pretty good. Alright, I'm going to throw down some more textures on the bricks. I'm just throwing these lines at the... Whoop, that one's gone. That one went wildly off course. I think the background is... It doesn't take much, but you should at least put something in there. You can't hide from the problem. All right. Well, better than the ones I did before. So there he is, the Sandman. Oops. Please like, follow, and subscribe. We're going to do more of these. I should do a Sandman kind of comic. I'm going to tighten up some of these, or loosen up some of these smoke clouds or fog clouds, gas clouds. And that'll be it. That'll be that. All right. Talk to you later.